Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Ask the Girl from Schenectady. And I'm your amazing host, Aduayo Magic Kodumi, aka Io Magic, the girl from Schenectady. I know I've been gone for quite a few weeks because I have been working on a new project, which I can't wait to tell you about. But first, let's jump right into this episode. So, I had the privilege to interview and have a conversation with some of the leading women of Faith and Love, my play that opened back in May, on May 22nd at the Santa Monica Playhouse. And we had a really great conversation regarding women and vulnerability and if it was challenging for them to play these roles that they slipped into. And here's what they had to say about it.
I think it was easy for me just because Lola, she's very sweet. She thinks about other people before herself. She just wants everyone to live in peace. And I feel like I'm the same way. I think what was hard about it was realizing like this is a real person. Like us as Black women, we want to take everybody's problems and figure it out when we have our own problems to face. You know what I mean? So I think playing her it just made me aware about that. Like, wow, like sometimes you just have to focus on your own household. You know what I mean? Like Lola and Lamre, they had their own issues, but they were always trying to fix everybody else's issues. It's like, you guys just got to focus on your own issues. Maybe you can pray from afar, but like just focus on your own issues.
The funny thing is that I think God is so strategic in our lives, and that either He'll give us something that we have gone through to draw from when we're characters, or give us an experience that we're currently going through during the playing the character. And that was my case. I had a similar, not very specifically similar, but some highlights of similarities that I was actually experiencing during the play that was very similar to my character, which is funny.
Yeah.
In that, it was cool to see like the emotions that I was processing through as Jasmine that I was able to carry over into as Imani. You know,
yes.
And so from that standpoint, it honestly made it a very natural experience to play the character, because I was like, oh, okay, I legit just went through this line yesterday.
Wow.
Honestly, like God is so strategic in just the timing. And like, even like, I think that even speaks to your obedience to God in doing this in the time that you probably have no idea how many people you actually touched and affected, whether it were the characters, like actors, or the people who experienced the play, all the amazing feedback that you got. So it just was a very timely play in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think from that standpoint, like, different things that Imani was processing through, I was literally processing through myself as Jasmine. So I think those emotions were very easy to carry over into the character.
Honestly, I think it's a case-by-case situation, because we all grew up differently. We all grew up with, different stories, different situations happening to us. Even in my relationship, my boyfriend is more vulnerable than me. And that's because I grew up in a single parent household, my mom, and I saw my mom, she's like, she's a strong woman. She does everything by herself. And I was like, oh, I'm independent, just like my mom. So it's hard for me to be vulnerable. Whereas my boyfriend, he's just easily, like, if he's not feeling right, if he wants to talk, like, hey, I don't feel like going to this event because this happened. Let's talk about it. But me, I'll just shove it and be like, yeah, let's go. Like, forget what happened, So I think it's based off of how you grew up and what you saw,
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think what comes to mind is a couple things. The first thing is that I think in a lot of ways, it is easier for women to be vulnerable in relationships because of society and how society says it's okay for women to be emotional. It's okay for women to be the, more vulnerable ones. And whereas a lot of times in societies, it's looked down upon for men to share their emotions and to be sensitive and to cry, right? And so I think a lot of times when it comes into relationships and you bring the two together, now this man is dealing with these societal ideas of I have to be strong, I can't be weak and emotional. And so now you have to break down those walls. But I think interestingly, over the past few years, it's been interesting to see how a lot of women have come into these sort of CEO positions and these sort of leadership positions where now they feel this sense of, I have to be strong. I have to be this hardcore person in order to be taken seriously as a woman. And now they're coming into that same sort of headspace of like, oh, now I have to learn again how to be vulnerable and again, how to be soft and again, how to type of person. So I think it comes into play with both, but I think it kind of goes that way with it used to be a lot more men and now you're seeing it also with women as well.
Wow. Well, you know what? Kudos to you both, ladies, because I agree with both of you for sure. I definitely agree with Kike when she said that that basically depends on the woman and our upbringing, our environment, and how we were raised and things like that. But I also agree with Jasmine. I think that based on society norms, it's expected for us women to be more open to being vulnerable and opening up more in a relationship and how we feel and about our emotions. But the truth is, I think over the last couple of years, especially in this 20th century we're living in, that us women tend to be a lot more independent. We're self-sufficient. We're entrepreneurs. We have our bosses. We have all these things going on, and it's forcing us to kind of just have a wall up, and it makes it harder for us to bring our guard down because we're just so used to being so strong and independent and self-sufficient and all that. So I think that Jasmine has a good point. I think it is a very hard thing for some women to be vulnerable. But it does depend on every woman. Every situation is different based on our experiences. And a lot of times if you've been hurt, a lot of us have been hurt in the past and we have trust issues. And that makes us very, very... it makes it hard for us to be vulnerable because of that. And it makes it hard to open up. So I think that, I think I would say that it just depends on the woman, but I think it's equally probably just as challenging for us women to be vulnerable, just as much as it is for men. And now it's time to introduce to you my new segment entitled Advice Corner. So basically this segment is just for you, my viewers, to send me questions on anything about love, life, dating, relationships, career, anything you want my honest advice about and opinion about. And I will just basically answer based on my opinion on whatever you guys want to ask. So here's my first question that came in today. Dear Io, after being single for 10 years, I recently met an amazing man who I've been dating for 3 months. We have been having a really great time. He's everything I could ever dream of in the perfect man. However, he just recently told me that he is still separated from his wife, who he plans on divorcing. However, the divorce could take up to 2 years. I am having doubts about continuing to keep seeing him. However, it has been a really long time since I've been in a relationship, and me and him really hit it off, have a good time, and have a connection, and I really think he could be the one. Okay, again, based on my opinion, separated does not mean single. If a man is separated, he is still married. And what that tells me is there's a good chance that he may still decide to go back to his wife and work things out, which could definitely leave me hanging and heartbroken after emotionally being invested in him. So in my opinion, I don't agree with dating a man who's separated. That's just me. I think it could be really messy. You never know how things could end up. I know that you have been single for 10 years, and that's a long time. Trust me, I know I've been single for longer than that, and it is tough dating in these streets, but sometimes we just have to make a really tough decision and know that there's somebody out there that's better for us, that, that won't have complications, and just know that your heart is worth you being with someone who's fully single, even if it takes 2 years. So my advice, what I would do, you may disagree, but I would tell him, you know what? I don't want to move on with anything. I want to wait until your divorce is completely final. And when that is final, if I'm still single, come check me then. And then we'll continue, to get to know each other. But to continue dating him after he just told you that he's still married and divorce could take up to 2 years, I think that could be a sticky situation. That could leave you high and dry. And that concludes today's episode of Ask the Girl from Schenectady. Now, please tune in to my next episode where I will give you more details on my upcoming project, Salsa Love. A romantic love story. So more details to come on that, and more advice corner questions. So feel free to please drop comments below, or you can Instagram me. I am at Ayomagic. That's AYOMAJEK. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Talk to you later. Smooches.